Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Postgraduate Diploma in Public Administration webinar. Thank you all for taking the time and energy to be here. Without further ado, let's get started. My name is Tiangele, and I am the senior lecturer at the Milpark Business School for the Public Administration qualification. So we have an awesome panel members today joining us, and I will go around the room and they can briefly introduce themselves. So I will hand over to you, Mabato.
Wow, you firstly start with me, put me on the spot. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mabatu Twaile. I am the program manager for the Postgraduate Diploma in Public Administration. I also oversee the Postgraduate Diploma in Business Administration in the Business School, also Executive Education. I'm looking forward to a very interactive session. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mabato. So just to give you a brief background, Mabato is our program manager. She's our star. She is the glue to the qualification. She always makes things happen. So thank you, Mabato. All right, now I will hand over to Ms. Matumelo.
Good evening, everyone. Matumelo Jali here. I am a student enrolled in the Postgraduate Diploma in Public Administration, and I am currently employed in the Gauteng Department of Education in the Chief Directorate ICT. Thank you.
Thank you, Matumelo. Over to you, Mr. Thabo Skosana.
Good evening to everyone. I am Thabo Skosana. Well, I'm one of the alumni from this particular institution, which is Milpark Education. Currently working at the Gauteng legislature. And that's just a brief intro. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tawo. And lastly, we've got Ms. Nonhlanhla Mbata.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I am not in the public sector. I'm employed by Milpark. And yeah, I graduated this year, so I am an alumna. So yeah, welcome everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So yes, guys, thank you so much again for availing yourselves and being part of this wonderful journey with us, and just for you guys to share your insights. So today is really more of a discussion about the Postgraduate Diploma in Public Administration, just so that also for our prospective students to know what the qualification is about. Also just highlighting your journeys as well, because it's always great to have the physical people around who have actually walked through the journey, and in Matumelo's case, who are currently walking through the journey. So let's share our experiences, our insights, and let's keep the conversation going. So I'll start off basically by handing over to Thabo. Thabo, so tell us, what was your motivation for applying for this qualification?
Oh, all right. So essentially, having worked, okay, well, I can literally say that I've been in the public sector, although the legislation itself, it's part of one of the spheres of government, or one of the arms rather. It's like it would be considered as the public service, even though it's not essentially. But I think having been in the public sector for about 17 years or so, one had last graduated years ago, which was like in 203, having studied politics and so on. But now, having worked in this field, I think one just needed to actually have in-depth knowledge with respect to the subject matters that I dealt with within the public sector and so on. And also I think also having colleagues around me that were doing the course at the time, and I found interest as I was speaking to them and so on. And and I was like, no, let me do this just to also expand my knowledge and also see what I can apply, and also what I could redirect in terms of my work and so on, and also just get the ability to essentially question other things that happen within the public sector and so on. And and I guess that was part of the motivation, as to why I actually entered into this course, and it was beautiful, I have to say.
Oh, thank you so much. It's actually quite refreshing to hear that, like, theory and practice is being aligned. Just hearing what you're doing with it is also quite amazing. So thank you for that. Also, just a brief background about the qualification in itself. A lot of people think, oh, public admin, it's only government related, it's this and that. But, we really try to create our content in such a way that it's sort of globalized so that you're able to think strategically. I think the biggest aspect is really to think critically. We want to criticize and question, like Thabo mentioned, you want to question certain things. So that's quite important. So it's not just a matter of regurgitation of information, but rather let's apply what we are learning. So Matumelo, as a current student, how are you finding the qualification so far? What motivated you to join? Can you maybe talk through about your experience so far?
All right. Yes, Tia. So far I'm enjoying myself. I was a bit skeptical in the beginning because it's been a couple of years since one has been in the classroom or doing anything, schoolwork. But I felt that if I wanted to see myself in a managerial level or post or rank, I think before I can go for my master's or anything like that, let me just recoup and go back to the drawing board and see what else it is I can add to what I already know. Before I go for my master's, but I see myself in a managerial post or level, and I just thought, well, I'm aiming more for the public and public management and governance, but I thought this would be a link. This would be an appropriate and relevant link. But so far, my experience, I was stressed about the distance learning because I have not done distance learning, but I eased into it. The MOPAC lecturers, the officials, they've just been making it everything so effective, efficient, and available, and supporting. So it's been a breeze so far, and also the content or the context is not too hard to grasp, especially because I'm already in the working space. So it's easy to just link what is practical to what is theoretical. So it's been quite a journey, a breeze, to say the least.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you. I think also just to add on about the online space, it is quite nerve-wracking to say, oh, wow, I'm going to be studying online. How's that going to look like? Because I think obviously we're mostly used to the traditional, you get to see your lecturers face to face. You actually get to ask the questions. You can knock on their door, whereas at MOPAC, you can't really do that. But one thing we do pride ourselves in is the support. We really try our level best to give our students the best experience. And so far, it's been really good. And yeah, we are there to guide you throughout. It's one of my mantras. I always say, we are there to hold your hand throughout this entire journey. So you really honestly don't have anything to worry about. So yeah. And then over to you, Nonhlanhla, your experience. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey as an alumni now that you've graduated?
Yeah, I just want to attest to what you stated, Thea, just what you alluded to with regards to the qualification not necessarily being for individuals in the public sector. Because as I mentioned that I am employed by MOPAC, which is a private institution, and I have found it to be quite valuable in terms of it harnessing my problem-solving skills, and just giving me a broader understanding of what the public sector is about. I mean, we see in the news about corruption and lack of leadership and such, and this course was quite valuable for me in taking me through the different types of leadership. For instance, in the public leadership module, and also assisting me in, for instance, I want to do my master's, and one of the requirements is for one to submit a proposal. And there's a module that we did that really tapped into that, which I found to be valuable in assisting one to draft a proposal, submit it, and so on and so forth. So yes, it's not only for the public sector, but it's relevant to all individuals
Oh, nice.
within
Can
the
I ask
business
you,
space.
Nonhlanhla, to tap in a little bit about that module that you just mentioned and what is it doing for you right now, or what did it do for you?
Okay, so the module itself, it's called Integrated
Public.
Public Service Project, right? So what we needed to do was to come with a topic that was relevant to our daily lives. It could be what we encounter at work, but it must be public sector motivated. And so because I'm not in the public sector, I chose a topic that was relevant to me, that involved the public sector, the city of Johannesburg. So
Mm.
it was on load reduction. So
Oh,
what
okay.
has, yeah. So so it really helped me in doing research, in critical thinking. Yeah, so I think my abilities in that regard were sharpened.
Mm.
Yeah, because I was able to draft a proposal and really come up with recommendations of what can be done. So I found it to be quite an interesting module, but also a valuable one at that.
Mm.
And I think
Mm.
the knowledge that I gained with this, then I can take it forward and forth with as I upgrade and articulate to a higher qualification.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think for me, what I really appreciate about that module is that it's not only just the research aspect, but there's the group presentations that you do.
Yes,
So we do what we
yes.
call an elevator pitch, where you present for about 3 to 5 minutes, get straight to the point. So you tell us what your research problem is, you tell us about your objectives, you tell us your
Yeah.
questions, you give us a bit of literature, you walk us through the journey of the methodology, how you actually got there. And it's actually nice to hear the different topics, especially from a public sector point of view. And I mean, I've found that you could come up with great papers, like articles could really come up out of all the various topics. So over the years, it's been really a great module to have. And I'm glad that we have this module in the first block because it sets the foundation for the entire qualification, because the structure of the qualification is very theory inclined. So it's research inclined as well. So what we typically do, we give you time to compile your assessment. So for example, we have your formative assignments, which we give you 1 month to complete. And then we have your summative assignments, which we then give you 7 days. So there's more than enough time to prepare. We also allow you buffering time to ask questions. So it's really quite interactive. And yeah, a couple of our other modules also have group presentations, but we'll get into that deeper at a later stage. So Thabo, let me ask you, since you're in the public sector, how do you feel you've utilized the qualification, or maybe certain aspects or certain modules within your daily life at work?
One would essentially refer to one of the models, I mean, like one of the modules, which is leadership. I think it's leadership and governance, if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly. And the one on finance.
Mm.
They essentially speak to, well, like, let me start with the one on finance. Like they make you, or they give you a better understanding, you know, of the PFMA, and issues of
Mm.
governance as well, like entirely so, because now you have to go in depth in terms of the research work which you need to do, so you actually get a better understanding and actually link it, to the work which you do. And even if you're not within the public sector, as Matlanta was saying, you can still actually understand as to how public finances work, or how they should work, in essence,
Mm.
and the accountability thereof, as to what needs to transpire at what stage and so on and so on. Because I think, in essence, like when you're talking public finances, you're talking about our taxes entirely as we're sitting here. You know what I mean? So I think it touches on every single person, and that's why I'm saying you don't necessarily have to be within the public sector just to understand that, but it gives you a broader knowledge, And I
Mm.
think also just linking it to like the one module which I was talking to, the one on leadership, it then also makes you understand as to why at times we have so much corruption and so on, because it gives you the different leadership styles, that we currently have, within our political spectrum or within the work environment in any case. It does not necessarily have to be within the political spectrum, but within the workplace, because you get to understand and you get to relate that, oh, so this is the kind of manager I'm having, and this is how I should manage in order to get things done and so on and so on. So it broadens, like it also builds you. And I think for a person who's in middle management and wanting to go to senior management, there are so many takeaways from that particular aspect, with respect to the leadership, like more agile, because you can be able to acclimatize and adjust yourself to say, this is the kind of leader that I want to be, because I'm more effective when this and that happens. Of course, like some may argue that leaders are born and so on and so on, but there needs to be certain aspects which you literally can gain, from doing such modules and so on. And I think I think one of the other key issues that one would have picked up, which would be the course on M&E, like the module on M&E. I think that's also very, very critical, especially irrespective of whether you're in the public sector or anywhere else, because when you're dealing with something or a project or anything else, there needs to be aspects of monitoring and evaluation. In order for you to actually understand at the tail end as to the impact, you focused on the impact, and so on and so on. So, so those are things which one would have known, but then like you get to sharpen your skills in that respect, and you actually get then to question to say, no, guys, but we've missed a step here. We haven't done A, B, and C, so we need to revisit. We need to do things in the right way, and so on and so on. So those are the takeaways, like from those particular modules and so on. And yeah, that's how I would have get. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like
Thea,
yes.
sorry, Thea. Yeah, just to add on to that public sector leadership module, right? It was also one of my favorites after the project one. Not that you, no, it's not because you were the lecturer of it. No. Okay, no, because it really allowed me and just to develop my theoretical and practical insights into effective leadership within an organization. Yeah, and I really gained a deeper understanding of differences with individuals, personality, attitudes, abilities, and how one can apply the different leadership styles in each environment for a common goal. So it really resonated with me. Yeah.
Oh,
Just also
Yeah.
to add on to what Thabo and Nonhlanhla are saying. Again, I agree. Leadership is one of the one of the favorites. But for me, I feel what stood out is learning more about the diversity management of things and the change management, and how I feel that I would like to believe that it's not entirely focused on in the public sector, because we don't have specific, what can I say, policies in place and processes, effective processes in terms of such change management, diversity management, and I see it every day. I'm saying this because I see it every day, and things such as learning about the age differences. It's a thing in the workplace environment. Or learning about, I've got more experience than you do. It's a thing in the working environment. So I think the first 4 modules of this qualification has also just largely, for me, put more emphasis on the importance of such factors. Diversity management, change management, the importance of actually being happy in your working environment and being satisfied in your working environment. But 100% leadership also just taught that I think we all possess some leadership bone in us. You just have to really just dive deep and try to find out where it is that you actually stand, and also accept that you can actually go or double dip in both. But I totally agree with Thabo and Nonhlanhla.
Mm. No, thank you guys. Thank you so much for that, because my follow-up question actually was gonna be to you, Matumelo, because now, soft skills is also something that we also need to look into, because we can deliver all the content, we can tell you what is leadership, we can talk about the different forms of leadership, but within leadership, there's other facets, right? So also in this qualification, we have a lot of group work. So how have you, Matumelo, navigated dealing with different personalities, different groups, the pressures of group work? How has that worked out for you?
I was actually going to add to say that not only has it taught us about the actual course itself or qualification itself, but it also taught you to go outside of your comfort zone. That being, I don't normally present, and we had to present, and even though it was online and virtual and you couldn't see my face sometimes, but I had to overcome that little stage fright of some sort. But I'm glad I was able to tap into it. In terms of the group work, it was seamless. It wasn't really problematic. The only problem was getting a hold of some group members, even with assistance of the officials from Milpark and the support. And even then, when we did get a hold of each other, it really wasn't too much of, because I think we all understand why we are here and what we are doing. So it was also easy for us to gel and come up with whatever structure we have to come up with in terms of our presentation. The last one, however, it was a bit challenging, but I take any challenge as a good challenge, because we learn
100%.
something from it. We learn something from it.
Yeah.
But my take from it was to say that being the bigger person, there's nothing wrong with that. You irrespective of whatever else that you come with, you can put aside the fact that there's this little elephant in the room. You can put that aside for the benefit and betterment of our presentation actually coming to completion. So we did have a little bit of a tiff, but I managed to sort it out. And I'm proud that I was able to, because I realized a certain part about myself, that I can actually exercise more patience, and that diversity, we are diverse. So it was also really nice for it to come into practicality, and not just as like a module in a certain module or subheading or submodule. So it was an experience. It is an experience, and I'm looking forward to more of it.
Oh, good. That's so great. Thank you for that. So now let's talk about balance. I want to ask each and every one of you, because every day we wear different hats. I mean, we are parents, we are working people, we are studying, we are members of society. So how did you navigate studying and wearing your other hats? So let's start with you, Noni.
Yeah. For me, the whole the online learning environment was not new, because my undergrad was also online. And I found that it bridged the gap of the physical connection that one would have with contact learning. So it really assisted in facilitating relationships with fellow peers from different professional backgrounds, and fostered collaboration. As Tabo will attest to this, I contacted him after we had finished, just before graduation, because I needed assistance from him with something. So he was available. So that peer-to-peer relationship was fostered through the online space. So yeah, that it didn't diminish the connectiveness that we have as a people. It fostered it and enhanced it, and the knowledge exchange through group presentation and so forth. So I've just lost my trail of thought. You can just ask me the question again.
No,
Yeah,
so
please.
so what I was asking is, how did you basically balance work and school?
Okay.
How did that
So
look like? Paint a little picture.
for me, it was a matter of adapting. So I was not new to the online space, as I stated. Uh, so it was really adapting to my work life, family. I've got a 7-year-old who's very demanding, and also working full time at that. Luckily, I work from home, so it was really adjusting my time management, just to ensure that I allocate time accordingly in terms of what is required, especially with assignments and exams, or during assignments and during exams. It was very critical for me uh, to channel my focus on priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it allowed me, really, it equipped me with the ability to navigate the fast-paced and evolving demands of learning, work, and home.
Yeah. But look, you did it. I mean, you graduated, you're
Well,
done.
I
So
did,
you
yeah,
managed. You
with a
you
few
walked through it.
distinctions. Yes,
You see
yes.
what I mean? Even yes, which is really good.
Also, just to add on, Tia, to Nontanda, I mean, Millpark does make things really not too simple, but they make it workable. You're not always stressed. You're not always
Manageable.
stressed.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I, for one, I'm good with time management. So I make sure that as soon as the assignment comes out, from that specific day, I allocate at least 2 hours to that specific formative, to that exam. Whether it's after or during, sometimes my lunchtime at work, I'd go to a quiet place, look at some sources, look at some stuff, plan how I'm going to, answer my things, so that when I get home, it doesn't get too flustered and too chaotic, because there's cooking, there's homework, there's all these other things. So what I'd normally do is, because also at work I've got a supportive team, and they are aware that this is what I've embarked on, and not that they try not to make things difficult for me, but they allow me to make certain decisions in terms of certain meetings, or how we should do certain things, and then I'm able to work around my way, around the schedule at work. So therefore, that 1 hour, I'm able to maybe just look at some sources, and then when I get home after everything, the chaotic second shift, then I'm able to take 1 more hour and just try to consolidate whatever I can. And also, the saying does go that procrastination is a thief of time. So I try not
100%.
to. And I try to, as like I said, when that discussion is loaded that night, I try go for it, try to work on it every day, and also just try to submit my things in time, or if not prior, maybe a day or two before. If really I'm happy with my work, I do go for, if it's due on Monday, I try for Friday, I try for Saturday, because also what I do on the left, I need to do on the right. So I need to balance at home as well. Take the kids out, watch a movie with them, or catch up on my time, or whatever the case may be. But I try not to make one suffer. We must all win at the end of
Yeah.
the day. But that's how
You are really literally every lecturer's dream. Talk about being a wholesome person, knowing how to manage your time. So kudos to you. That's actually amazing. I think you should write something so we can share with everyone to say, how do you do it? How do you do it? So Tava, over to you. How does a balanced life look like for you? How did you manage work and studying at the same time with all the pressures that are happening?
I think I wish I was like Matumelo. I really wish, because I'm certainly not. But I think like over and above having family life and so on, And fortunately enough, one has been working online, for the past couple of years, so it made it a bit easier, And I think also the issue of the discussions, they sort of channel you into which direction you must focus on, because you see, the thoughts of people, the questions that or the comments that, like the lecturers would make. So they tune your mind into a specific way of thinking, instead of just being broad and looking for whatever else information. So you sort of channeled, and you know what to expect when the formative comes, and including like the summative as well, because it draws your attention. So it kind of lessens you being stressed out and so on. So that's how I managed to deal with it, because I hardly had time, like, to be honest, but I had to make time in any case. And I'm a bit of a night workhorse, so I used to do that like quite often, only just because like work is online. So I think if I was physically having to go to the office, I think I would have had to change my mode, of studying and so on, because it would have been more difficult, as I would need to be more in the office and so on. I think I would have taken the approach that Matumela spoken about, saying that every single little break that they have. So I think it's just that. But it was doable. I think I followed an Atlanta suit, a couple of distinctions as well. I can't remember, I think 3 or so. So,
Yeah, indeed you did.
so
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
so yeah, but I think, yeah, so I just think it's just that. But also, and without having to take you back, there's something which Matumela had spoken about, and I think like Onantanta as well. Um the group presentations. I really, and I'm sorry to deviate, but I wanted to speak about this, but we, like, unfortunately we had moved on. But I think it was so important because with what I noticed, and this is across well, I'll make an example with the workspace which I'm in, within the public sector, especially when you're in junior management. Junior management staff, or even maybe some middle management staff, do not get the opportunity to make presentations. So that within this course, literally now gives you a sense as to what to expect when you get to either that middle management position or that senior management position as well. Because you need to be effective enough to say that you need to, like, you need to jot your points down, but be able to speak to them, in the time frame which we're given, which is really, really key and essential, when you get to those levels, in particular your senior management position, because you can't write a full report on on a slideshow. You speak to the salient points and make sure that people get it. So I think that was one of the most interesting things, and the different views, which would come through, having to discuss, with whoever that they've partnered you with, to say, no, we should include this or not. So it was quite interesting in that. But having that 3 minutes, I think it was 3 minutes, if I'm not sure, if not
Yeah,
5. But
yeah.
having to make sure that you get that point across, and also just following the instructions, which is key, because it teaches you, I remember in one of the groups, like the institution had given us a specific format, to say this is the format which we need to use. And like some of the colleagues did not have that format. So so it brings in other dynamics as well, which speaks to persona as well, and how to
Yeah.
deal with, how to deal with other people who may not want to follow instructions and so on. So it's like it's got its own way, of
Mm,
like of teaching you skills as well, like at the same time.
mm,
But yeah, no, I'm
mm.
sorry to deviate, but I think, like, I thought that was quite important just to mention, as Matumela was speaking about it. So yeah, thanks.
No,
It really,
no,
it really, it
yeah,
just to add, sorry, Tia, it really was, Tabo, because just a little bit outside of this. So a quick one. We were in a meeting, right? So I was busy setting up and everything, and my senior manager was a bit late, and as he came in, I'm busy setting up, thinking that he'll open up his things there and go through the presentation and whatnot. And he was just like, so Matumela will take us through the first part of the whatever. And I'm like,
yeah.
will I? Am I? Okay. Yes, I am. And I did. And it was great. It felt good because it like Tabo said, it gave us some kind of, this is a guide. This is what to expect. This is what you should do. This is
Mhm.
stick to the time. And, so it was great. It really was.
Oh, that's good. No,
I
that's good. Nini, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I concur with both Matumelo and Tabo, and I found that another skill that it developed was communication. because it forced you to participate actively in discussions, and also to collaborate with your peer when presenting. So it was
Yeah.
useful in that aspect.
And I mean, just to add to what you guys are saying, is that, people are like, but why is it only 3 minutes? It's too short. But it's also to teach you the skill of, you need to be fast. You need to articulate yourself well. Get straight to the point, because sometimes we may deviate and deviate, and we go onto the highway and we come back, and then, we go onto some corners. So the aim is just to get there straight to the point, walk us through the journey without also asking too many questions. So I always say, give us the context, provide it, walk us through it, make us understand, and then we're done. So I think it's also great to hear such great feedback about this is what it made you feel. And it's bigger than just the content in itself, but also the aspect of communication, the aspect of articulating yourself as well, and being able to just give a 3 minute, Matumelo will take it. You know what I mean? And then you're actually ready because you've done it before. So that's actually quite great. And then I wanted to ask, in terms of, now I want to go back to the content, or what module could you really resonate with, and what did you find very unique in that? Anyone can go first.
Well, see, I think I've already alluded to the two main
Yes.
modules, but I would say the project one really resonated with me, because I felt that in as much as it was useful then, it will still be useful in the future, in terms of drafting a proposal, submitting it, tracking it, and doing your recommendations and what have you. So that, for me, that actual module was valuable for me. So yeah, amongst others, I mean, there's also the strategic public management one, which teaches one about how to manage people. It's more like an HR module.
HR, yes.
Yeah. So that too, but the project one was my favorite.
Yeah, I agree with Nonhlanhla. The project one for me was more about refining my analytical skills, if I may say. And the strategic was also very, very interesting for me. However, I think we resonate a lot with the strategic one, because it's almost like a day-to-day daily operations for us in the workspace. But what stood out for me in the strategic is how I think we are not fully aware of the impact of AI and what it's going to bring, and what changes, what drastic measures might need to be taken in the future. But it stressed a lot of AI, and the AI that I at work can see already, with the little bit that we are busy trying to integrate, that a lot of people, a lot of officials, a lot of employees, a lot of colleagues are battling with. And because we are dealing mostly with a lot of schools in our chief directorate, now we are talking about teachers and educators. That is also a challenge. But AI is on the rise, and I don't think we are fully aware of the impact that it's going to still have. But that's what stood out for me for the strategic, because I'm only on 4 modules so far.
Yes, yeah.
And then the for leadership and the strategic people management, like I'm saying, those ones are more resonating with me, because it's almost every day that we are living that. But for the project, it's more analytical for me, and to scrutinize. I don't think we scrutinize documents enough, or whatever we are dealing with that is documentation enough. But for me, I think that has heightened my skill in terms of that.
Thank you, Matumela. Thabo, what about you?
I think for me, it would be the one on leadership, thanks to you. One, like I think it's quite critical, and because I would link that with the M&E, the one on
Yeah.
M&E, I want to draw a linkage on that because I think if I remember correctly, within the M&E, I think that's the one where we needed to develop an or annual performance plans or something of a sort, if I remember
Yes.
correctly, and so on. So,
Yes.
and you or then also then need to, evaluate as to, like the outcomes, the impact and so on. And I think, it's so as I make the linkage in between the two, the kind of leaders which you have within an institution will drive you towards achieving your success, and it's through that M&E, as you make the assessments, then that's when you either understand if you're making an impact or not. So I really really enjoyed that particular one in that respect because so I enjoyed like those two, including like the financial one, because I think I would have spoken to it like when we were opening the session as well, based on the fact that it just gives you broader understanding, of what's going on out there, with respect to public funds and so on. So yeah, I think it's like for me, it's those three, and of course, like the one which Natasha would have spoken to, in particular, if you want to further your studies, with respect to like the research work, the proposal, and so on and so on, So yeah, I think in that respect, also it plays a significant, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think those ideally would be the ones for me.
Okay, thank you guys. I think the takeaway I'm getting from all three of the conversations now is that the practical element is there. So you have looked at the theory and you are actually applying the practice. And that's what we aim for. We aim for critical thinking, not just tell us what's on paper and write it down. It's actually your daily lives. You are living for that. So we're always encouraging critical thinking. And I'm actually happy to hear that this is actually working and we are able to scrutinize important components of our organizations and based on what we have learned. So yeah, we will continue to thrive and strive on that. So now I want to ask you guys, like, what advice would you give a up and coming person who wants to register for the postgraduate diploma here in Mill Park? Like, what would you say? What would your final words of come to Mill Park? It's been great or not so great.
Can I start?
Click that
Sorry.
submit button.
Right.
Sure,
So
please go
Sorry.
ahead.
what I would
Go ahead.
advise someone, particularly someone who is not in the public sector, who is perhaps fearful to take
Yeah.
on this module, this qualification, thinking, I won't qualify or it's not for me, but is interested in doing it, I would say go for it. I'm a testament of an individual who's not in the public sector, who was able to complete within a year. Um, and so it is doable. It is very informative. It teaches one quite a lot about the business and also about the government. I think as Tabo mentioned that with taxes that we all pay taxes, so it's it's important to know that the taxes that one pays is the taxes are used effectively, and that the leadership that's there is effective, and if they're not, what can be done. So apart from voting and so on, okay, I'm mumbling, but it was very insightful, very informative. I can walk into any corporate space and apply what I've learned. I can walk into government and still apply what I have learned. So don't look down on it because you are in the private space. It does resonate in both sectors.
Thank you, Nonhlanhla. Tabo, what are your words of advice?
Similarly to what Nonhlanhla has indicated, I mean, I remember outside of Nonhlanhla, there's another colleague which we had, I think joined us just in the middle of the class. He's in a foreign country. He's in the mining industry, So you can imagine, like this and the mining industry are far apart. But he
Yeah.
had so much keen interest, he had so much keen
Mm.
interest to actually know about the subject matter, to see how he could apply it back maybe at his home, like in his home, like in his own workspace, or even maybe back at home to probably like deviate from that and going to within the public sector back at his home, So I think it's pretty much it's doable. But the key takeaway, extremely insightful. It's very, very, very insightful. I mean, I myself haven't been in the public sector, for a number of years. Like there were some other things which, did not make sense. But like once you go through like the material and you read through things, like you start having a better understanding, so you can never know enough in any case. So
Mm.
like it just heightens that. And I think even more, like when you outside, because like with some of the things which we would discuss, in class and so on, I personally would not be shocked because I've seen some of them, and I've seen,
Mm.
like let's say maybe we're speaking on the aspect of corruption, like you guys are still shocked. I'm not. I deal with this on a day-to-day basis. But it's also interesting to hear the take from other people who are not necessarily within the public space, but speaking about those and the ideas that come out of it as well. It's you learn so much. And yeah, so I think and it's very doable. I think it's extremely doable and very, very interesting. So I would tell guys to go and apply for it. Yeah, like if I could, I would do it again. But it's yeah.
Come back, come back.
It's
Our arms
affordable
are
too.
open. Come back.
And the
Affordable too.
affordability
Yeah,
part of it, that plays a big role.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
people
absolutely.
think postgrad
Absolutely.
is expensive, but I found this one to be quite affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
that
also,
is
and
a
also,
factor.
and
have the
also, and
mustard
also
spot.
for and also for people who might be overthinking it, there's really truly nothing to overthink. If it's staying on your mind, go for it. Apply, click that submit button, and don't overthink it. And
Mm.
also, I think my take also would be there's literally really nothing wrong with online distance online learning. I was really panicky about it, and I know a lot of people are because the last time they went to school it was literally physical. But there's honestly, for me, it has been such a smooth ride thus far, and I'd say they should just go for it. Public administration is everywhere. It's global, like
Yes.
Tia said in the beginning of this, and you can never not know enough of it because it just keeps coming and coming, and there's just always something new to add. There's always something new to know. Or so
Mm.
I'd say go for it honestly, and not to overthink it too much. And really, online is not really a hassle. Just make sure you have stable internet, and manage your time correctly, and you should be fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like in addition to that, like in addition to what Matumela is saying, I think one of the key takeaways, I mean, because you've got a class an hour, maybe every second week or something of a sort,
Mm.
um, that on its own pushes you to actually read, and that's the point about it, like for you to gain the knowledge over and above like the discussions which we normally have and so on. And that too actually also pushes you. So I think, unlike the traditional way of doing things, like having to go to class and blah blah blah,
Mm.
so with like in this way, I think it really helped me out. I personally, I will speak from personal experience because I had to read a lot, even though I may be familiar with some of the subject matters, but I still had to read. And it actually expands your knowledge, with so many
Mm.
things and so on. So yeah, so I think just
Mm.
in addition to that, yeah.
Mm. Mm. I mean, I just want to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned that, you had a classmate who's not from this country. So I just want to also highlight that it's like I said, it's a global qualification. I mean, the student of ours, he's from the DRC and he's studying here. And it's also quite interesting for us to also get insight in terms of how they see things on that side from a government point of view. So, I mean, I'm always in contact with him. So we chat every now and then, and he'll let me know this is what's happening. How can I phrase? Because he always thinks, how do I phrase my assessments into a South African point of view? And I'm like, you don't have to. Show us, teach us what's happening on your end too, because that's how we learn. Every day is a learning curve. So it's actually quite interesting to know that there are people actually out there who are interested in this qualification, which is amazing, amazing, amazing. So yeah, Guys, this has been so fruitful, and I really just want to thank each and every one of you for participating. So now I'm going to open the floor for any questions. Let me just check in the chat. Are there any questions from the floor before we close? I think earlier there was a Bafana, Mr. Bafana, his hand was up for a while.
And it seems like he just left the chat.
I left the chat.
Oh, okay. I guess he left. Okay. Are there any questions from the floor? Any form of clarity you'd like to know about the qualification? I see there's someone typing there, so we can just give it like 2 minutes. Are there any final remarks from the panel regarding everything we've spoken about?
Yeah, I just want to stress to anyone who's listening or interested in applying that there is support
Yes,
from your
absolutely.
lecturers. Thea is there, the program manager is there, and also you can always type in and onto the tutor forum, and you will receive assistance. So you're not alone. It's not a journey that you take on your own. I mean, you've got your fellow
Absolutely.
peers that you're studying with. So yeah, there will be someone holding your hand throughout the entire journey till you graduate. Even during graduation, there'll be someone holding your hand there as well. So the support is immense. So do not fret. Don't. Yeah.
Thank you, Noni. So the question in our chat is, yes, if it haven't started working but got a BCom in management studies, would you recommend this postgraduate? Oh, definitely, absolutely. So remember, like we said, it's not only public administration inclined. There are many facets to it. So we look at modules like strategy. We've got strategic public management and governance. We've got public sector leadership, but it covers the basis of what, for example, leadership is. We've got finance, we've got economics, we've got policy. So you are more than welcome to join the qualification. Just give us a call. We are there to tell you all about it. So yeah.
And also,
Matumela?
Tia, just to add on to that, these qualifications interlink, or they go
100%.
into one another. So like Mr. Panica is saying, to say that he has a BCom in management studies, it would be great to have a public administration. It will go hand in hand with it. It will be relevant for him going forward in whatever endeavor. But it would be great. Yes.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's definitely not closed. It's not a block. We are open. We are quite diverse. So tap into it, like Matumelo said earlier, just apply and see. And just speaking of the application process, it's not tedious at all. The moment you click that application process, you get assistance. We are there. It's like you have your own personal assistant, basically. Well, I'd like to think of it that way. I hope so. Tavo, anything from your end?
I just think apply. I think it's quite interesting. And you're not gonna have any regrets.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
definitely won't at all.
Yes.
So yeah, and hopefully by the time once the guys have applied and they're finished, probably there'll also be a master's program like in public admin.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so yeah,
Not
so
only
just apply.
Not only that, I see in the chats that Butle is asking, can the same modules be transferred after completing this postgraduate to go to the MBA? Yes, you are more than welcome to do so. I've got a couple of students from previous years who are actually registered for their MBA. So we can also provide you with more information around the MBA as well. We can share the link to the website, then you can have a look. So yeah, definitely. It's all at the end of the day about what you want to do with the qualification, what it's doing for you. And I'm so glad to know that it has made a change and you're making good use to it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tabo. Thank you so much, Matumelo. Thank you so much, Nontlanta, for being part of this information session. It has really been lovely and it's been a fruitful discussion. So thank you. And yeah, let's keep soldiering on, and all the best to you. All the best to all of you. So thank you so much and have a beautiful evening. And thank you to Mavatu, thank you to Hanli, thank you to everyone who's also joined tonight to find out more about this qualification. Should you need more information, please don't hesitate to contact us. We are available. So everybody keep warm, have a beautiful evening, and good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.